Well, all right. Welcome to this wonderful world of creating the snare that ends all other snares. We're talking the king of snare drums. We're talking the snare that when you hear it, you practically get a concussion. We're talking about a snare that is repulsive, that causes nausea in the faint of heart. We're talking about the king of all snares, the sound of all sounds. Now, here's the deal. In order to create the king of all snares, you have to remember the first rule of music production, which is okay, so this is kind of a weird thing what I'm about to say. I said the first rule, but the first rule is like three rules. There are some basic foundational principles that once you learn them, you can break them. But you must learn them. After that, the key is this. If it sounds good, it's actually good. Like if you hear it and you say, wow, I like how that sounds, then it's good. So without further ado, let's create this bad boy right here. Okay, now, again, I should have maybe retitled this live stream as knowing when to say when, because music is infinite. I watched a really cool little interview with Virtual Riot, and he was talking about when he was a kid, he used to have dominoes, and he'd set up like 20,000 dominoes, and then he'd set them back up just to see them knock down again, and all this stuff, and how he thought that music was similar to this. And I really like that analogy because it's in a never-ending ass story. So a lot of times you'll see me making music, like for example, like let's say I come in here and I do this. Okay, there we go. And then you'll be like, wow, that's a cool sound, but it's kind of boring. And then I freeze it. Then I flatten it. Now the reason for that is because now I have a waveform that I have to work with. And it'll cause me to get to a point. It won't cause me to do anything. Like I can work and work and work. I can do whatever I want for however long I want, but I'll never get anywhere. What'll end up happening is it will remind me that if I don't say enough is enough and that this fits the track, then I'll never get anywhere. Okay, and so this is very important that we keep this in mind. Very, very important that we keep this in mind. That if we want to create that snare right there, the dominant snare of all snares, that snare has to come from fitting our track production. So, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to do some Control Z, my favorite control on the whole software. And I'm going to come into Live for a minute. And I'm going to ask, or into Vital for a minute, and I'm going to ask myself, what do I want to create? Do I want to create a snare that what is it going to go with, right? So let's say I come and I pick like Trav Ultra Reese, okay? So let's say I pick this guy. Okay. So I pick that. So that's going to be whatever it is. And I obviously quantize it because I'm a slow tard sometimes. Let's quantize it over to here. Since I'm slow, let's just go with the I'm slow jam. And yeah. So we got this. So I'm going to open up an instance of Vital. I'm going to turn this off. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to show my screen. And I'm going to do something kind of cool. I'm going to get from scratch a snare created that fits this track. So how am I going to do that? First of all, I'm going to come in here and I go like this. Boom, bam, bing, bomb, bam, boom, bam. Filters 1 and 2. Actually, we're going to go direct out. And I'm going to delete every automation parameter that I have set up here. We're going to start from scratch. You know what? As a matter of fact, here, let's just get rid of this vital. We'll open a brand new instance. There we go. So I don't have to do all that stuff. I don't know why I work the hard way. I literally have musical dyslexia. Like a lot of times, the tension and the resolve are backwards when I make music. So look, we got this triangle wave, and people are probably thinking, well, what the hell? You can't make a snare out of a triangle wave. Well, you're right. Kinda. Okay, so let's open up an instance of a spectrum analyzer. There we go. Look at that. We've got F, just like the key I'm pressing. So let's create, instead of F, let's do A, B, C, D. Let's do D. Uh-oh. So now, look at that. Snares, one of the fundamentals way down here at 150. So we're going to create a snare that's D. And we'll repitch it up here in a minute. And so we can come in here. One of the ways we can do that is we can come in here and we can just draw on the waveform if we want. Okay. Or we can, oops, my bad. Or we can just scroll through, and I'm going to experiment here with quantization, right? So we can scroll through, for example. We can come here and we can hit quantize. Okay. Well, that's not going to work. So let's pick a different shape. Factory basic shapes. All right, so we got a sine wave here. I'm liking that. Let's go into the matrix now. Just see, why do I like this? Let me explain why I like it. Look at all those crazy harmonics. I mean, we basically have all the makings for a snare right there. Here's what I don't like. This is A, and I wanted a D. So we're going to fix that. So this is D, obviously. So we're going to come in here. I'm going to bring this down to 0, and bring this down to 0, and we're going to play around until we get a D. Let's see here. A D harmonic. And once again, like I said, this snare is made for this sound. And so that's the important part to remember. So first of all, we're going to add this first harmonic here. And then we're going to come in here and add another one. Okay, that's not the D. It's getting there. There we go. Oops. Getting there. Okay, we're getting there, and that is an ugly looking waveform. That is one ugly beast of a waveform. Let's see what this one is. Nothing. I don't like it. Nothing again. And we're going to bring a little bit of that fundamental back in here. There we go. And I'm going to do some EQ in here on this little 200. Well, actually, we're going to leave that 200 the way it is. So, holy shit, you're probably thinking, what the fuck, dude? This doesn't sound anything like a snare. Well, just bear with me. There we go. So now that's D. That's D0. And so let's go up. Wait, let me make sure I got my piano the right way. Okay, so 0. We're going to go up to D1. All right, so this will work. Let's fix the attack now. All right. That'll work. All right, so we got some crazy shit going on right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a note, and then I'm going to commit. And in this note, we're going to have D0, D1, and D3. So all 3 octaves, obviously. Here, let's just do it this way. There we go. And then I'll come in here and hit fold so I can see what's going on. And quantize, of course. So let this be also a lesson in there's many ways to skin a cat. Okay, so there, we got that. Maybe make it even shorter. Okay, that's too short. Not a reference to Oakland, California. Oops. Oh, let's come in here and quantize this. This is not quantized. I messed up. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to commit. Let's go ahead and freeze this, flatten this out. Now I've got this insane waveform. If you zoom in on it, you'll see that it's just crazy. It's a square wave that's all kinds of weirded out. And that looks good. Okay, cool. Go here and normalize these by consolidating it and then hitting normalization. All right, so now we've got the attack. Now let's crush this attack. Let's turn this attack into something insane. Let's make it even more distorted than it is. and more, let's see here. Let's find a clipper. We'll put this kilohertz clipper on here for now because it's clean. And I'm going to go ahead and loop this. We're going to create the initial transient. All right, it's fine. It's fine the way it is. Now let's add some body. So we're going to come down here to Easy Drummer, find a snare that sounds good. Let's go through the snares. So remember, it's going to be for this sound here. Let's turn this off. It's going to be for this sound. Okay. This is an E. Let's fix this. Okay, there we go. There's a D. All right, so it's going to be for that sound there, and I'm gonna go through my snares and see what kind of snares I can find. Okay, so what I need to do, mic check. Whoa, I just found a resonance in my room. If I turn my head to the right, boom, 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 I get like 200 hertz. That's crazy. All right. There we go. Let's take off this limiter. And let's go through these snares once again. I'm going to come in here to the mixer. I'm going to turn off the overheads. I'm going to turn off the ambiance, and I'm going to turn off the compression. I'm going to turn off the reverb. I'm going to turn off the okay, we're good, I think. Yeah, we're good. All right, let's go through these snares. Let's see here. Drums. Let's turn this shit up a little bit on my end. So I like this one. This got some body. So what is this? This is the Pearl. Oh, I like this one too. Let's see. So I like this resonance. I'm going to go with this one. Let me just go ahead and go with it. If you hold down the key, you'll be able to locate it here. And we're going to go 100% velocity, of course. Well, actually, apparently it says 127%, which isn't even a fucking thing, but that seems to be the number chosen. That seems to be the number that's chosen for velocity here. Alrighty then, and let's break the rules. So here's what I mean by that. I've recently watched a music production video by a man who supposedly has a record label. I'm not going to name him because he's a cool guy. He seems like a cool guy, so I'm not going to name his name. And he says layering snares is not how you do it. Well, here's the deal. If you know what you're doing, layering snares is exactly how you do it. So we've got some phase inversion happening here. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the phase. Why? It doesn't matter now because I'm not going to keep the transient, but I'm just going to do it as good practice, if that makes sense. So what is flipping the phase? So if you take a look here, we've got up, down, up. So this section that's down in the waveform here on the top is the section that's up in the waveform down here. And so that'll do some canceling out. This section's cool. This section's not cool. So it's kind of like iffy. So I'm gonna do some trippy stuff. I'm just gonna phase one channel, come over here, put this in mono, and I'm gonna take a listen. I'm gonna take a listen to this right here. Okay, we'll phase the whole thing. Okay, let's take it out of phase. Okay, so the flipped phase is the best. And we're going to keep it mono. I'm going to go ahead and freeze this out. I'm going to go ahead and flatten this out. And there we go. Yeah. So this sounds good. Let's just loop it. So already you hear. And what I want to do, just because, is I want to put an OTT on a group. So this will emulate compressing the crap out of the track. So this will emulate by the time your track is has gone through all the processing, coming out of the master channel. What is this snare going to sound like? And so let me OTT. We're going to do equal loudness OTT. So by the time it goes through the processing, you're going to have something like this. So you can hear that tail, and I'll deal with the tail here right now. I'm going to get this tail dealt with immediately. So maybe I'm going to come to here, and what I like to do is I like to split the track and then fade, and then I can adjust this way. And if I need to adjust up and down, I can adjust right here. So I'll take a listen. All right, so now I'm going to listen to this real quick. There it is there. I mean, that's pretty much done for that sound. But let's just dial it in. Let's just make it good. Let's just listen to this. And since I want this note, and this is not actually a note. Well, I mean, it is a note, but I don't know what note it is. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and consolidate this. So I'm going to commit to a waveform here. And I'm going to tune this pink one here, not the orange one. We're going to maybe I'll even grab a tuner and I'll see. Well, let's just break out the spectrum analyzer. Let's see what its fundamental is resting on. We'll solo this out. And okay, so we're right about maybe C, D, E, F. So we'll go down, let me see, C, D, D sharp, E, F. So we'll go down 3 steps to, so this is F, we'll come down to E, and then D sharp, and then D. All right. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that sounds like shit because it's in beats mode. Let's change this out to tones and see if that sounds better. That sounds like shit again. Actually, I messed up. So we're gonna go 2 steps and a flat. So flat would be minus 25 cents down here in the small box. That still sounds like shit. In tones, let's go massive grain size. Sounds like shit. Small grain size. Sounds like shit. Let's go textures. Take out the fluctuation. It's okay. Take out the grain size. Usually does the trick. That's cool. Let's mess with the grain. Alright. So, back to beats. Back to tones. Sounds good out of all the options that we have. And then textures. I like textures. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and flat commit. Now, this is a shitty sounding snare, so listen. It just sounds like some crazy shit. So let's add some stuff to this, right? Let's add itself to itself, and here's what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and turn off OTT, and I'm going to put in an audio channel, and I'm going to resample. I'm going to go in from group, right here, in from group, and I'm going to record. Here we go. Okay, I messed up. In from group. There we go. So Houston, I have a problem. I forgot to normalize the sample. Let's do that. There we go. That's better. Now I will record this wannabe snare. All right, cool. So I got this wannabe snare right here. This little fraud, the snare that's going to end all other snares. And I'm going to go ahead and there we go. We're going to go no input. So this just goes right to the master. I'm going to go ahead and turn OTT back on here in the group. There we go. And lower this down. And what I want you to pay attention to is this snare looks like shit. So this doesn't look right, does it? Now, if we were to do something like that, that would probably come out looking right. But let's see what that sounds like. Okay, that sounds the best. I'm going to go ahead and resample that. It would help if I actually had in from group. There we go. Turn this off. I'm going to resample the overdriven, the compressed signal. Okay. So you're probably thinking, why the fuck is he resampling the OTT signal? Well, here's why. I'm going to do parallel compression essentially by reintroducing the sample into itself. And so let's do no input. So this is going to go back to master. We're going to turn this on. I'm going to come over here, turn off OTT. I'm going to put this in the group, and I'm going to reintroduce into itself the sample. We're going to make the snare of all snares. All right, let's get rid of some of that resonance. You hear that whoom, whoom. Span. Let's find out what that is. Okay, so that's going to be 600. We got 600. We got a little bit of a weak snare going on here. So now it's time for EQ. Let's get rid of that 600 area and boost up that, what was it, 150. Let's grab an EQ, and it doesn't matter what kind of an EQ at this point because sound design, right? Remember sound design? So let's go here. We're going to go 149. 149. Actually, okay, Google. What hertz is D1? Which hertz are D1? What frequency does D1 correspond to? What frequency does D2 correspond to? D3? Okay, so we've got 146.83, so we're going to just type that in. So we'll go 146.83. There we go. We're at 147. Give it a little bit of a Q. Turn on this. And we're going to go ahead and raise this little bad boy up. Holy shit. Sounding like a chunky snare. I'm going to crank it up all the way. And then we're going to come over here to the 600 area and deal with this 600. Let's just get precise. Let me open up span and actually get precise here and figure this out. We got 579. That'll work. We'll give 579 just a little bit of a cut here. So we'll come 579, 579, high Q, and we'll bring it down by, I don't know, let's see, what did it say? So this is good about span. It's pretty accurate. So let's say, actually this looks better now because I'm crazy boosting the fundamental here. I'm going to even out this section of the frequency right around 1K. Let's come in here. I'll do it right around 1K. I'll do 1, 2, 3. Give it a broad Q and give it a boost of 3 dB. Maybe 6. We'll go 6. So that's starting to sound unnatural. I'm just going to leave it alone. All right, so this, let's see, let's turn that off. Let's keep that on. That's 147. So I'm going to find a better EQ now. And come in here and give a boost of 12 decibels on 147. So we're going to type in 147 here. 147. We're going to narrow Q. We're going to crank it all the way up. Or, okay. Yeah, we'll crank it all the way up. Just because we can. And that'll come in handy later. We can EQ it out or clip it. So that'll work. I'm going to go ahead and resample once again. Let's get rid of this trigger track. Track. Boom. We're going to go resample from drum group. And now you're probably thinking, my one viewer or my no viewers, you're probably thinking, why is this guy taking so much time to create a damn snare when there's sample packs or snares are already created? Well, here's why. Because this snare is mine, right? That's why. That's literally why. So this sound here is the sound that this snare is going to fit perfectly, right? So, I don't know. All right, and that's what I'm going to figure out. So once again, back to the beginning. You have to know when to say when, and right now is not time to say when yet. And so I'm going to go ahead and resample this snare. Look at that crazy body on there. All right, so now I'm going to take all this stuff and I'm going to move it out of the group. Oops, I did that backwards. I don't have to move it out of the group. I just have to mute these guys here. I'm going to mute these guys and put this guy back in the group and turn off that EQ. Get rid of the EQ altogether. I might need it later. I'm going to put on OTT and see what kind of weirdness we got going on here. We'll go no input. Now what I like about it is that crazy resonant frequency. Let's see where that's coming from. It's probably coming from that 600 hertz area still. No, it's just coming from that fundamental. So now what this allows me to do is go back to that clipper that I wanted earlier. And it allows me to shape, allows me to shape the sound at the source, if that makes sense. Let's get rid of that damn limiter. That pisses me off. Okay, so it's not needed. Okay, so now I'm going to reintroduce some sounds. I'm going to reintroduce with the OTT on to simulate what your snare is going to sound like coming out of the master channel. And yes, I know that there's too much resonant frequency happening right now, but that's fine. I'm going to deal with that through an audio illusion. So let's reintroduce this crazy quantized attack. Look at that crazy thing. I'm going to go ahead and reintroduce that in there. Let's go ahead and freeze out this. Consolidate that. Consolidate this. So everything's right where I want it. So I'm going to, oops, what's going on here? That's not good. Oh well, that's just consolidating. And clip fade right there. All right, so everything's right where I want it. I'm going to reintroduce that crazy quantized click. All right, so now I'm going to come in here with an EQ and deal with what I have too much of, which is always better than not having enough of. So we're going to go 147 again. Come over here to 147. 147 and just high Q and start dealing with this. We'll come down maybe 6 dB in the beginning. Now I need to lower this a little bit. We're gonna, I don't know, maybe have it be maybe 0. We'll come down to 9 maybe. Actually, here, let's pitch this up 1 octave. We'll shift that from 600 to 1200, which will give us a nice little snap here. All right, let's try this. Okay. My bad, I forgot something. So let's duplicate this first. Duplicate, and then we'll pitch this one up to 12 steps. There we go. And I'll sneak this into the track. You hear that drawn out tail? Easily fixed. There we go. With the compressor. So the compressor is going to do this according to the time that you have it set on. So if I lower the time, watch. Okay, so now I'm gonna lower this by a octave and see what that gets us, because it sounds a little bit too much like Pac-Man right now. So this is sounding cool, but maybe it's an illusion. Let me hear this. Okay, still sounds like Pac-Man. Maybe I'll just keep it at where it's at. And come in here and I'll show you something really, really cool. So let's grab a reference tool. Let's grab an oscilloscope. Let's put on size scope. It is my favorite oscilloscope. And we're going to set this to 1 bar. I think it's 1 bar. Is it set for 1 bar? Is it 1 bar? Yeah, it's 1 bar. So we got... Let's set it for 2 bars. So it puts the note in the middle. There we go. Oops. I'll set this for 1 bar. I forgot how this worked. And we'll mess with the roll. We'll put this in the middle. There we go. So now this is in the middle. Let's zoom into this bad boy. Well, let's just start playing with an EQ here. So we're going to use the EQ to shape the waveform. Now that I got the basic shape, maybe use an EQ and a clipper to shape this waveform. We'll start with a clipper and see what happens. But the clipper wasn't really doing much, but we'll go ahead and start with the clipper anyways, and listen and look. Okay, now I'm going to use the EQ to do some more wave shaping. That's cool. I'm going to grab another clipper now. Put that beast on here and do some more wave shaping. I'm going to come over here into the clip itself now so that I get the highest quality render. And I'm going to do some volume automation within the clip itself. So let me first of all consolidate so that I'm not dealing with anything but the clip itself. And I'm going to do some clip gain. I'm getting super close to a fucking king of all snares here. I'm liking what that sounds like. So I'm going to go ahead and render this. I'm going to re-sample again. And we're going to go resample from group. Turn off OTT. Actually, before I resample, I'm going to start messing with the other parameters. So essentially, you can think of these as EQ parameters, these different portions of the waveform. And I'll open up another instance of size scope, and I'll put it on the group channel itself so that I can monitor everything. And it's looking pretty wild, but that's fine. I'm gonna reintroduce some sounds now. Let me reintroduce them with OTT on. Sounds good to me. I'm going to reintroduce this section down here with OTT on. Hear that? Hear how it's destroying the waveform? Let me come into clip gain once again, and I'm gonna do something like this. I'm gonna create a fade in the clip itself. Because what was happening, and now you can hear that that's already better. What was happening was it was killing the transient for some reason. So this must be maybe phase interference. So what I want to do is into this section here, I want it to be out of. I don't want any of that in there. So maybe I'll do something like this or something. So that's okay. And I'm going to adjust the clip fade here, clip gain here as well. Let's see here. Let's zoom into the waveform. And let's do some. Now, you're probably thinking, well, why the fuck, dude? Why are you doing clip gain when you can just use an EQ. Well, clip gain is going to be the cleanest of the sounds. All right, so I'm listening for that click of the snare. That's what I'm paying attention to right now. I'm come in here and do the same. Maybe come way out to here or something. I don't know. That looks good to me. Maybe I come way out to here. There we go. All right, we're getting into the good territory here. All right, that'll work. I'm going to go ahead and resample everything. We're going to go in from group, resample. All right, now I'm done with all this shit. I can get rid of all this. Put that in the group. Get rid of that. And no input. So send to it with the OTT on it. We've got to clean it up, of course. And let's see here. We'll do something like that. That's crazy, crazy fat. We got a pregnant snare for some reason. Let me do some action here. There it is there. So I just pitched it up an octave. I'm going to go ahead and consolidate this, normalize it, and we've got the world's most drum and bassiest snare on planet Earth, apparently. Let's see here. Now we can play with the timing, right, of the release with the compressor. Come in here and add some sizzle with a vocoder, of course, because that's just what you do. So maybe you can even vocode it to itself. Here's what I mean. I can duplicate this channel and take off the vocoder here, take off the down limiter. This pisses me off that I keep forgetting to take off these limiters. I have it built into my automatic template. So we can go like this. We go external, and then we'll call this the trigger. We'll go external from the trigger. Bring this up to 40 bands and turn this off. So that's probably one of the sickest snares ever. This snare ends all other snares. And that's just all there is to it. So there it is there. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the truth that you experienced here. We shorten the time by this. Change the frequency. So that's what your snare is going to sound like without compression. It's going to sound like this. But maybe on your master channel, by the time you're done processing your entire track, you end up with something like this. Then before. There it is there. Now let's proof of concept that we just made the world's most vicious snare, the snare that dominates all other snares. Let's proof of concept this. Let's go ahead and pitch this by, I don't know, by an octave. And remember, this is triggering the vocoder. So you remember when I started out, I said the key is to know when to say when. So if you don't know when to say when, you're not gonna you'll never stop. So we'll just make a quick little beat, I guess. All right, let's take it 10 steps further. We'll go ahead and turn on the OTT, so this will simulate what this would sound like in the master channel. Oops, I forgot to put in the kick and the hat in the group. All right, let's take it a step further, right? So let's check this out. All right, let's go in here and let's grab let's grab a reverb. And we'll go ahead and put a reverb on the channel. And you're probably thinking, what the fuck, dude? You're gonna wash it all out, right? Not. So let's do this. We're gonna group this. And another way, and I'll show you an alternate way to do the grouping. So I'm gonna put the reverb on the group track. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get all nerded out about it. So I'm going to say from about, I don't know, from about 30 milliseconds, or from about, 30 to about, so that's 60. So we're going to come in here and we'll go 60, 600 milliseconds. Decay time all the way wet, no reflection, all the way diffuse. And I'm going to reintroduce. Anyways, that's all for now. I gotta go. Bye.